This is the one I've been most looking forward to. We've all had a tea, haven't we? Haven't we?
We've had a cup of tea.
We've all had a tea. And before the microphone's even on, it is just stupidity. We're singing each other. Mate, I'm sat here and they're setting up the microphones and Nicky Blackmarket, he's like, before we've even entered into conversations, he's drinking tea. We're singing songs, and I don't know how this next 2 to 3 hours is going to go, but we've got, I don't care what anyone says, the most endearing, hard-working, legendary, unlikely drum and bass mental legend there's ever been, Nicky Blackmarket. Welcome.
Great to be here. It's been a little while that
we've been organised
doing this.
Yeah. Well, a little while we've been doing this, but it feels like yesterday that like we met in the shop and like the one thing that we always say, we even said before the mics come on, how the hell has like the past 35, 36, 37 years gone like that?
It's bonkers. It's like when you think of, I mean, in one instance, it's like it doesn't seem very long.
Yeah.
In the other instance, you think what you've done in between that time.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
It's flown by.
Yeah.
Life has literally flown by. And before we get into the depth and the history and we go right back, even before Blackmarket, I think one thing that we both say every time we talk, this is the best time we're ever having.
It's bonkers. It's mad. It's like going back to the 90s again, but
Yeah.
even more.
Even more. Like, it blows my mind that, like...
But, I mean, what I think is really great is, I mean, especially for us, right, that it's where we've got those genres within the genre. We've got those complete eras of genres within that one genre. So,
I know.
So it's like we could play 6 genres throughout the night. We could play that 6 different genres.
Yeah.
In one night.
Yeah, and in some instances we are going around the country and playing old school here, hardcore there, in your case jungle, drum and bass.
Wonderful. It's brilliant.
In my case some hard house and trance and like literally people have decades and decades and decades of different memories of all of the music.
Yeah. It doesn't bother me how many parties I do in the night. The more the merrier, because you see different people, you see different vibes, you see completely different energy all around the place. And it's just, the more the merrier, I don't mind.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it's like, of course, you know, it gets to a certain point in the night and you're tired or whatever. Do you know what I mean? But, you know, you have to look after yourself.
Yeah.
You have to look after yourself to a certain degree. You know, you just out partying. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like you've got to, once you've got to, right, that's it, you need to go to sleep now, or, you know, you've got to cut off.
You sleep. You don't sleep. I remember when you was round mine once and we were working on a project and Sonia's going, what's Nicky doing downstairs? And whereas DJ Vibes used to hunt down the cupboards for booze, you were looking down the cupboards for honey, or was it syrup and toast, and you needed to do yourself a little snack?
Yeah, just a little snack. Just a little snack.
Yeah,
it's just only a little snack because I think where the body clock had been prior to coming over to you, you know, you have to check when you change your body clock. You're still hungry at 2 a.m. or whatever. Obviously, be careful what you eat. Yeah, you know, but it's only natural. Isn't it?
I think you've got more energy than you ever had. You know, like when we used to go in the record shop and you used to put your earlobe inside your ear. Can you still do that?
Yeah,
I've got.
I don't know. I haven't done it. I've got. See now, you can see these.
Of course, yeah, you got your ear.
I've got hearing aids.
Yeah,
now,
you have.
And it's like, you know, that's a whole different thing. You know, look, especially at the length of time that we've been doing this.
Yeah.
You know, it's an occupational hazard, regardless.
Yeah.
Occupational hazard. And the thing is, my missus one time, like, she says, "What the hell, turn that telly down, it's too loud." So I was, "Go and get your ears tested." So I went to get my ears tested. Slightly before that, I got, I had those earplugs, those customized earplugs done. This is quite a few years ago now. And when I put them in, I thought, I can't play with these in there. I can't hear nothing.
Yeah, a bit muffled. Yeah, not the same.
I didn't know, but my ears were, the top ends were damaged.
Yeah.
So went to get hearing test, and they said, yeah, the top's in your ears. A fair percentage is gone. You need to see about getting hearing aids. And I mean, these ones I've got now are just like high tech. They compress the sound when it's too much, which is incredible.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because you did an advert, didn't you, for them as well? There was an advert for them, yeah.
Specsavers, yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting that, like, because not many people in our world I know of have actually had issues with their ears as such. So a lot of us have been very fortunate.
Yeah.
And now with technology, that sounds incredible what that's doing.
Yeah, this absolutely incredible. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like the first time I got them, it was like a
revelation.
Yeah, it absolutely. I was crying. It was like, wow, this is mad.
Yeah, magic.
But because don't realise it, because it was a slow decline. So you don't really realise that over the
decade
of time, it's got bad.
Yeah, because you always have loved it loud, didn't you? We all love it.
I must admit, in the shop, yeah. Or the 21, 22 years or whatever in the shop, been banging it out there and then banging it out in the monitors at night. So
in the gigs,
occupational hazard.
Yeah, I've been fortunate because I only ever had one time at the Fridge over in Brixton about 22 years ago. I had it so loud, my ears started to bleed when I got in.
Gosh.
And it scared the living day. Obviously, it scared the living daylights.
I remember one time at the end, I remember when we used to do Blackmarket nights at the end, I remember going in there for a sound check and they proper ranked it up, and it hit a frequency and it kind of just, it done my head. It really done, it hit that frequency. I was like, wow, that was too much.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you remember the system in the end,
wicked.
That was naughty. Yeah.
Wicked.
That was a naughty set.
Let's go right back to the beginning. What year were you born?
I was born 3 days before Christmas Day.
Right.
1967.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my mum said, I nearly didn't make it. She said, I nearly didn't make it. I was really small. I think premature, and I nearly didn't make it. So I didn't have any brothers and sisters. I think hence that my mum, God rest her soul, she couldn't have any more kids. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And South London?
Well, put it this way. I grew up in between two areas, Marylebone and Kennington in South London, by the Oval Cricket Ground. I grew up in between them two areas. So I was born in the Middlesex Hospital. It's no longer there anymore, right in the West End. So it's Mortimer Street. When I went over there a little while ago, and I was like, I can't believe how much it's changed. All new big buildings. It's just crazy.
Yeah, the world has changed, isn't it?
Incredibly. So, yeah, it was Mortimer Street, which is just by Goodge Street, Charlotte Street. Used to be a hospital there, Middlesex Hospital. I was born there, and my nan used to live in Marylebone, just behind Marylebone High Street. And back in the 70s, 60s, 70s, there was a little working class community there. Small working class community, And as you know, back then, everything was council house. Everybody, not like today where there's not hardly any council houses, but back in the day, it was a council house. And so they knocked down the building. My nan moved literally across the road, and my mum and dad moved down to Kennington. But where my primary school was there, St Vincent's, just off of around the back of Marylebone High Street. I went to primary school there, so I kind of, and my nan looked after me. You know, my mum and dad went to work, and so I kind of in between Marylebone and Kennington, in between them two.
And really cool areas.
Yeah. It was great. And I just think growing up in the 70s, I mean, I remember playing on derelict bomb sites, because there wasn't at that point there, the yuppies hadn't come in yet. So, you know, they hadn't built, or they didn't start building. So there was a lot of derelict buildings, and there weren't no security guards or nobody. There weren't no health and safety then. Do you know what I mean? So just to play on these. I do remember when I was a kid, I remember public information films. Do you ever remember them?
I do, yeah.
And I remember one about don't go and play in fridges, because if your fridge shut on you,
yeah,
you're brown bread. It's curtains. So I just, you know, and I look back on it, and just things like that, playing in derelict bombs.
Was you a naughty kid? Was you naughty? Mischievous?
Maybe a little bit mischievous. Not, I wouldn't say too naughty, but maybe a little bit mischievous sometimes. I think getting up to as long as we come back by, you know, tea time. As long as everyone come back by tea time, you know, it's all good.
What was you like at school? Was you mental at school like you're mental now?
I don't know. I didn't really like secondary school. I wanted a job.
Right.
'Cause at that point, you could leave school at 16. And primary school, I like primary school. And the day I turned 6, I didn't even take any exams. And I got offered a job from my uncle's ex-wife. I got offered a job, office clerk. The day I turned 16, I said to school, ta-da!
So like 82, 83?
Yeah. And I left, went to work, and I was in the job for about 7 months. And then she sacked me. She just sacked me. And I'm thinking, I've done nothing wrong. I don't understand this. I've done nothing wrong, which I think, personally, it was something to do with they had a divorce and something there. You know what I mean? So got rid of me. I'm not yet, you know, I'm 16 and a bit, 16 and 3/4 or whatever. I've got no exams. I've got no thing. I thought, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? So a friend of mine said, come on, let's go look for a job. So went for this job in a photographic laboratory, and he got the job. I didn't get the job. So my head was down. And then the guy that ran the business said, oh, my mate's got a firm up in Charlotte Street. Go and see him. So, okay. So I didn't think anything of it. Went in there. Yeah, you got the job. Yeah. Only just a courier, but
right.
For sending like photographic stuff. And I was shocked. Like, oh, right, wonderful. So I said, can I have a week off, because I needed to sort out, you know, like your checkbook and all of that kind of, you know, like your personal stuff. I said, can I have a week off to? Yeah, no problem. So I started there, and then I went into the lab, and I became an E6 and a C41 technician, which is basically keeping the colour balance neutral. You know, like you run the rolls of, remember the 35mm roll? Remember the rolls of film? They were like dip and dunk machines. So they all went into the tanks. The tanks had to be a certain temperature. The gases had to be running at a certain level. So it was a very, very fine, really, really high tech
Yeah.
You know, and you had to be bang on point.
And you was good at it.
Yeah, became good at it. And it was, if you got anything wrong, the whole thing get contaminated. And we had big jobs from Marks and Spencer's and Sea Containers and British Airways, and big jobs coming in for, you know. So one time when it would go tits up and all hell would be loose. Do you know what I mean? If it had become corrupt, or you know what I mean, like the tanks would be, you'd have to start all over again, and it was a long process. But that's, you know, when I used to work long hours there, but I was at that point there heavily into the music. It was, you know, electro-funk and because look, my mum used to be a jazz dancer. So she used to know people like Cleo Lane, Johnny Dankworth, all the jazz people, Ronnie Scott, I think, before he even had his club, and all these people. So, you know, growing up listening to jazz, when I'm really small, I didn't really take it in, but I did really in the back of my head.
Intentionally, you're taking it in, yeah.
It's in the back of my head, so it's like, it's crazy to think how it's, you know, it's still in there, but at the time I'm like, oh, it's,
yeah. Know. How did you discover the electro-funk and all of that sort of music of 83 and 84?
I mean, I used to listen to the Pirates, obviously, Solar, Invicta, Horizon, Kiss when they're illegal, LWR, Steve Devon on Invicta. Oh my gosh, he was the Don. He was the Don because he used to play everything, all this. And then you go to Groove Records. It used to be Groove Records in Greek Street. Obviously, a lot longer before.
I think Groove was like 82, 83, like a good.
When I
5 or 6 years before Blackmarket.
Yeah. Before I was. When I used to go, and it,
Did you spend all your wages in Groove?
Yeah, of course you did.
Yeah, so
that's what it was. That's where it was.
When you used to go to Groove, can you remember your first experiences of walking in there as a record shop?
Really small, so the counter was up there.
Yeah,
I mean, so, like that, and used to be Tim
Palmer. Yeah.
His mum.
Yeah, when you used to go in and his mum was behind the counter, that was all part of the experience.
I mean, Jean knew what she was. She knew everything about the music, everything, all, you know, incredible. Like the knowledge, unbelievable.
Yeah, because that Groove was Beggar's Banquet. That then went on to be City Beat, that then went on to be XL Recordings, the heritage and the history of that.
It's incredible.
Like one shop. It was like a rite of passage to like listen to Mike Allen's like Groove Records hip hop chart. And then it didn't matter whether you was like 10, 15, 18, but you had to go to Groove Records and like just experience it.
And, it was wonderful times. It was. Yeah.
Did you acquire lots of records then in that period? Yeah,
of course I did. Yeah, of course I did. It's collecting. That's what it was all about. I mean, look, there weren't no internet or, you know, there's nothing like that. So to see how it's come on, it's incredible.
How long did you keep the job at doing the photographic?
So, I mean, they knew from the off that I just wanted to do music. They knew that from the very beginning. So I was there. I must have been 83. Must have been about 83, maybe 84, because I started in the office job and then went to 83, 84. And then I come out there in 1990. And when I got the chance going into Blackmarket, I had to say to the boss of the photographic lab, you know, I said, look, I'm gonna have to leave. I can't miss this opportunity that I need to do. And he had the hump. he had the right ump because he didn't want me to go.
Well, you'd obviously 5 or 6 years and
didn't want me to go. He did not want me to go. So it's funny. Do you know what I mean? I was shocked because I thought he'd go, oh, no problem, yeah, you know. And what do you mean? What do you mean? Why? What? And I've got to be honest. I can't.
Yeah,
I've got to go. You know what I mean?
Had you had any leading up to Blackmarket? Had you had any DJ gigs? Were you doing?
Yeah. I mean, me and Clarky, we started playing together. You know, we started playing in house parties, and we used to play in Dillinja's parties. Used to have, before he had his music equipment, he had another sound system, and we used to play on his sound. Incredible.
Right, so that was mid to late 80s.
This must have been mid to late 80s, yeah.
And what kind of music were you playing?
Obviously, because it was, especially when the late 80s come, you started having the acid house thing, when that kind of blew, you know, the techno, Derek May and Kevin Saunderson and all that kind of stuff, you know. And then obviously messing about, you know, you start messing about with Kenny Dope Records, 45-8 and doing madness.
Yeah.
You know
what was like the first acid parties you went to?
Oh gosh. I remember going to a few warehouse parties in Kentish Town. There was a few up in Kentish Town. I mean, you didn't really know much about it. Do you know what I mean? Because it was very much underground, very low key. When was it? It must have been. I remember one time, and this is. I come out of there. This was in Kentish Town. Must have been 88. I come out there and I was dying of thirst, and I nicked this pint of milk.
Right.
The shop was closed. Shop was shut, and nicked this pint of milk. I was dying of thirst, and then I started drinking it, and I started going down the tube, walking down the tube. Next thing I was like, looked up. This old Bill's took his helmet off, and he's running. And I'm thinking, let's walk briskly down the stairs. Briskly down the stairs. I'm standing on the platform now. The train pulls in, and then I'm like that. Next thing is
over a pint of milk,
and I got pulled back up, got taken to the police station. And yeah, over a pint of milk. I was in New Year's Day, and I was in the nick.
New Year's Day, after the legal warehouse party, you nick a pint of milk and you end up.
Yeah, and yeah, it was.
That could only happen to you, right? Literally, that could only happen to you.
And I'm thinking, what's going to happen to me? It's only a pint of milk, but what's going to happen? I don't know what's. So they decided that they didn't want to press the charges, and they let me out. And it was a bit of a shock because I'm thinking, well, it's only a pint of milk, but what's going on here? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's mad.
Yeah. Before we get into Blackmarket, that fascinates me that you, Dillinja and Clarky were connected in like the latter 80s before any of you like went off and did incredible things. Like Clarky made incredible tunes. Your legacy,
and,
come on, Defender, Dillinja's,
Mr. E and Kenny Charles,
Dillinja's legacy, like
without a doubt,
in like and there you all are DJing in house parties.
Yeah, we're kind of learning our craft and getting ready to
How did
wonderful.
You meet? How did you all meet?
Clarky, I met through a friend of mine, old friend of mine, Emerson. He introduced me, and we just got on. We, you know, same musical level, and you know, me and Clarky would play. We'd play all night. We'd play the whole night. I had my turntables, and I'd walk down Kennington Road with just curtains over the decks. Couldn't do that now, I don't think.
No.
So we'd carry them for, I don't know, maybe maybe near enough a mile or half, like 3/4 of a mile.
Set up at a party, yeah.
And then we'd string up, we'd play all night, we'd get drunk, and we'd get sober.
Yeah, throughout the night.
Yeah, we'd drink ourselves sober, and then we'd unstring again, and then take the decks back again.
Yeah. How did the connection with Dillinja come?
You know what? I think it might have been through Carl's cousin that knew Mark,
right?
Knew Clarky, Mark, I think. Yeah.
And did Dillinja show? So did any of you did Clarky show signs of like wanting to produce and stuff? Did Dillinja show signs of wanting to?
This is way before
to be like a sound system, set up a sound system.
Yeah. I mean, look, Carl had his sound. He had sound system. This is before he had his music equipment and before he had the Valve now.
Yeah,
you know, and it was, and he had a set back then. Do you know what I mean? He had a wicked set back then.
Because you were all so young.
It's crazy.
But and like really, it's like in that period of where acid is just coming in. There's a rare groove reggae hip hop thing. It's a really interesting.
Yeah. It's like at the traffic lights, isn't it?
Yeah. And all three of you are done incredible things further down. Like, I never knew that. I never knew that the three of you were connected at such a young, youthful moment in time.
It's crazy. It's mad.
Yeah. You mentioned like speeding up, putting records onto different speeds, right?
Doing different
stuff.
I
remember I can specifically remember some of the first records before we get into your absolute history with Blackmarket. I can remember some of the first lot of records I brought from you at the latter end of 90 and going into 91, like Circuit Shelter Me, Autumn Free.
Then was upstairs.
There you go, upstairs, Autumn Free, Hard Up. I remember when there was a record, Intoxication, Reactor Rhythm, which was like a left field thing. And I went in the shop. And it was one of the first. You'd been in there like 4 or 5 months, and you were playing this 33 record at 45, sticking your ear inside your ear, going, "This is fucking mental." You're going, I'm thinking, "Who's this flipping lunatic here?" And it's funny that you say 1990 and like playing records on the wrong speed,
experimenting.
Because you genuinely was like, because in that period that you started in there, like I always say, like 1990 and going into the very early few months of 91, we were still very much in like a housey, acid house, Detroit techno, bleeps, bass era, and the Europeans, we'd be getting imported European records, Shut Up and Dance, Ital, Rockers, Renegade Soundwave. There was various people who were showing us hints, reinforced, that were showing us hints of what hardcore was going to become. Yeah. But there was mentalists like you who were generally like 33 to 45 -8. This is where we're going. Oi, oi. And that's
well, it's crazy because. I mean, when I think back and, people would come in the shop and like-minded people like ourselves, playing like the acid house tunes and we were speeding them up.
Yeah.
We were speeding them up. And then you had the house, the regular house heads coming in and going, what the fuck are you doing? What are you doing that for? Like, as if we're ruining it.
Yeah.
We were already going on another tip and not even realising. We weren't even realising what we were doing.
Our youthful energy carried us, didn't it? And our youthful energy.
I'm saying, so we'd be speeding it up and then there'd be people of our kind of like-mindedness. Oh, yeah, I want one of them. I want one of them. Like I say, and then you'd have the house pods coming and going, what are you doing that for?
Yeah, I remember. Can you remember your first time going into Blackmarket before you become a partner in the shop?
Just being rammed, proper rammed, and it was like a rave in itself.
It was, yeah.
It was like a rave within itself.
Yeah,
it's crazy
because it was such a big thing when it first opened. Just the name of it, Blackmarket.
Yeah.
it was in that sort of like period of where acid house had like this mysticism about it. I remember the first record I brought, and it was upstairs. The first record I ever brought from Blackmarket before you worked in there was Little Louis, French Kiss. And if one record sums up that sort of era, and because it was only a small space, but I was 12
again.
13.
You would have been down,
and like going in there, and do you remember the fashions like? I remember the fashions and the colours so clearly, but the name Black Market just had this like, it had such a like aura about it. And I remember like the first time going in there when it was upstairs, Little Louis, French Kiss. I tell you what else I brought there, Minimal Records changed the track, and they had LSD, not LSD as in our LSD, Roy, but the American LSD, Took My Love Away. And yeah, it was just a magical time. And like you saying, like,
and everyone coming in and buying rave tickets, everyone buying merchandise, and downstairs was all the downbeat, hip hop, and the soul.
Yeah,
that would all be downstairs, and then I think it kind of got everything was going.
Yeah,
when our thing was getting so great, like it just you'd have you'd got the house bods waiting in, because remember that there weren't decks across the counter.
No, there wasn't.
It was just the one deck that you'd play on the set. You'd just
upstairs and next over in the corner,
and that's it. So you'd have you'd have a couple of house bods with their pile of records waiting, and then you'd have that
early
breaks thing which is starting to veer away from it, and it's starting to even get morphing. And then had to talk to Dave Baccioni, my partner at the time.
Yeah,
we need to we'll put it downstairs. The soul and the hip hop wasn't financially carrying the swing at that time, so we decided to bring that upstairs and put the breaks, the hardcore, early hardcore.
I remember.
At that point there, Ray was left City Sounds.
Yeah.
And it just so happened to be everything into place. It was mad. It was
timing
through the grapevine. You heard that he's leaving there. Next thing is, oh yeah, Roy, you gotta come. That's it. He's in.
Yeah.
Which was
because Ray was legendary on the record shop circuit, if you like, because all of us, everyone, whether you was just a fan of pirate radio and hearing the music through radio, whether you was an avid clubber going out, everyone did that record shop circuit. Groove, City Sound, Blackmarket, Music Power over in Harrogate.
All those shops, everyone done the rounds.
Yeah,
and it was like, when Ray was over there, it was funny because I'd have a tune that he didn't have, and then he'd have a tune that I didn't have, and the same over in Mash Passion in Oxford Street with Brian and Frost.
Yeah.
Then you had
Red,
Nookie and Tony and Pedro over in Reds in Uni.
Yep.
And and then you had there's a couple other shops.
There was others. Yeah, there was others.
You had Miss Pink down the road as well.
Yeah, Chocky's Tunes.
Yeah, Chocky's Tunes as well. So it was, and it kept us on our toes. I think kept us really on our toes. So someone had come in with a like a City Sounds bag, and I thought, what we got there? What's that? Oh, where'd you go? Oh yeah, right, got it free. And then obviously the Versavisa would be over there that we'd get something. But then when Ray come over, and I think after that, 92, we really did dominate getting
the West End,
getting the tunes in and cleaning up.
Yeah, no, you
absolutely cleaning up, because I on the job I learned how to buy and sell records in a big way. Where you'd have someone come in with a white label. I said, "Oh, how many of these have you got?" And he said, "Oh, I've got he's got 1,000." And okay, put it on. you'd know if it's going to be a big tune. You could hear, do you know what I mean? You just start hearing it, and then everyone's in the shop. We're in Borty, yeah?
Yeah.
And, right. And then I'd say, right, let's take them all. Let's take all of them. I can't. I've got to give them to blah, blah, and blah, blah. I said, no. I tell you what, look, give us a week and I'll pay them all. I'll give you all the money. Give us a week. 9 times out of 10,
you'd do it.
Works. Someone might turn around and go, no. I said, okay, all right then. Put the money there. Have the money now.
Yeah.
If we're that confident with the tune, and then within a week, not even a week, the tunes are gone.
Mad, yeah. Gone. Do you know what I think? Before we get into you buying into Blackmarket, do you know what I actually think? Going back to that 91, 92 period before, like the dark prototype drum and bass, or the real piano happy hardcore, or the jungle, I think that when that, like that hardcore era of 92, so many people who'd worked in record shops, or some of those legacy record shops at the time, they were hell-bent on house, like you said earlier, there had to be a separation. And I think within that West, like Chocky had gone quite acidy and techno-y.
Yeah.
Some of the shops like Release the Groove and them had gone very housey. Yeah. I think Groove had gone by like 92.
Yeah,
I think Groove had gone by 92, and I think it just led you. And then by the time Ray's left City Sounds, so there was kind of like the
said we cleaned up.
Yeah,
we absolutely cleaned up.
And you just
learned how on the job. I learned on the job how to buy and sell records.
Yeah,
in a incredible.
And you caught the hardcore like other shops, pre the jungle. And it is interesting because a lot of times when I do these interviews, people say no one really talks about the hardcore bit. They either talk about the acid house bit or the jungle drum and bass bit. But I actually think that 1991, 92, as we watched hardcore.
I was on, and again, pirate radio is an absolute imperative to everything that we're doing.
Yeah.
If there was no pirate radio, I don't know if we'd be doing all of this right.
Yeah.
I really don't, because it was so important. Everybody, it was the internet.
Yeah, it was the internet.
It was the information centre.
Yeah.
Just like when with Kool's thing was, this is the information.
Because your pirate radio heritage is incredible, Pulse.
Yeah.
What year did you start Pulse?
I went on there from the beginning.
Yeah, I remember, yeah.
I mean, so what it was...
Was that your first pirate stations?
No.
Go on, tell me. I know.
So the first one I went on, the very, very, very first one, I done a guest show on Star Radio, which was up in off of Harrow Road, to do with Hawkeye Records up there.
Oh,
yeah,
the reggae label.
So I started doing a guest slot up there, and I just got a complete buzz. Then I got introduced, to go on Murray Mint's show. Who's good friends with the Pet Shop Boys. On Friends FM,
legendary station, yeah.
And I went as a guest on one of the shows on Murray Mint's, and then I ended up doing my own show, and it was really early in the morning. It was before I go to work in the photographic lab. So I'd do early morning breakfast show, and this was like acid house and blips and bass.
Yeah, 89,
90. So it was, and then it went, when I started in the shop, it was the crossover there. So I remember going, it must have been about 5 to 7 in the morning. Yeah. And it was, I remember, Steve B. I don't remember Steve B. Used to be Rank.
And Rank, Stevie B still comes up from...
He used to be on before me, and he used to go on the air and go, and my DJ name back then was Magical E. Because my middle name is Erland, right? Which is John in Swedish.
Right.
So
Magical E.
Magical Erland, yeah.
Is there
Magical E.
recordings of this? Anyway, is there recordings?
There must be somewhere.
We've got to look. There's got to be. Magical.
So he used to go over the radio. Steve used to go over the radio and go, listen, bring us up a Kit Kat for us. Bring up a Kit Kat. And I mean, you know, I did that breakfast show for quite a little while.
Magical E.
Then one time I remember one time I was doing a show on a Saturday night, and one time I gave out a wrong location of where the event was, and it built up a whole heap of traffic on. I can't remember exactly where it was, but on it was like the A12 or the M25 or something, and it was and for an event, like, and the next thing is I'm getting a call. Get them off the thing.
Yeah,
get them the wrong place.
Did you have any DJ gigs as Magical E in raves on flyers? Is the name Magical E on any flyers?
There might have been a few, not a lot, but there might have been a few, like Warehousey.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I've learned something new. I've learned something so new, like the whole Nicky Blackmarket Pulse FM era, the 90s.
So then
I know all that, but I didn't know Magical E.
So then when I went on to Pulse, it was Helium, Jamie G's uncle.
Correct,
Jamie G's uncle, Helium, and Life Force, Lisa Life Force, who was like security. She was like security for clubs.
Yeah.
And those two got together and started Pulse. And there was, because it was just before that, it was Chilling. Do you remember Chilling?
Chilling, yeah.
With Anton.
Yeah.
But then it kind of went into Pulse.
Yeah.
And that's when Pulse, I used to do, I think it was 6 to 8 on a Sunday evening. I used to do every Sunday. And this is where I tell people, when people ask me, like last night I did a DJ tuition for DJ Euphonics in Lakota. And I was teaching vinyl, like how to mix vinyl. And then at the end there was a question, Q&A, and they were saying, asking what's the best way to get into it, you know. And I always think back to like when I started on the pirate radios, that same time next week, you have that radio show, you lock down that radio show, and that's how you build consistency, and that's how you build your little crowd that listen to you on the radio, that week in, week out, you know. And I mean, I used to be mad on Pulse. It was, you know, I used to do funny noises and, you know, and I always started with, I always started with the Spam jingle. Yeah. Monty Python, the Spam jingle. And so that led me to the Reinforced guys coming in the shop, and, you know, and then they said, do you want to come up and do a tune? And I thought, I'd love to. So going up, Mark, Ian, Gus, Digo, going up to Jumbo's in Dollysill, and they had the attic at that point. It started in the attic, going up there, going right up there, and I was just so excited. It was like a little kid in a, you know, and Digo was the engineer, and he was so ahead of his time. Digo, before Hero, he is so ahead. He was on the Akai, was so quick, and so, you know, to engineering, it's incredible. Yeah, and then I started. When the first tune I made was the Spam, and that EP there, and that done ever so well, because I remember even like Steve Jackson on Kiss. Playing it on his, you know, and it went into the charts, and
there were so many flavours on that. There was so many flavours and elements thrown into that. Before we get into all that, how did you acquire Blackmarket after it had been going for 2 years. That's one of the burning questions. I didn't mean to stop
you
at 1991 and drag you back to 1990.
No.
But,
so, because my mum used to work in Oxford Street in card shops, and she used to go in the shop, and she got to know everybody in the shop before I even had the shop.
Right.
So, and then she got to know Stafford in there, and then one time, there's an opening for like partnership in there, and then my mum come back, and my mum always said, God rest her soul, she just said, save for a rainy day, save for a rainy day, save for a rainy day. She just kept going on, and then she just said to me, right, that rainy day is here. So she put a lump sum in there, and I've become a partner in there.
Yeah.
And the rest was history. It was mad. I mean, look, obviously she got, tenfold back, and, but just incredible.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
It is an incredible story. An incredible story. And you went the full distance, didn't you, up to the point when digital come in and changed it all about. And your mum must have been well proud.
Oh, yeah. But like she said, you could save for a rainy day. You know what I mean? That just kept reverting.
Yeah. So you acquired a shop. You've gone and touched on the reinforced. When do you think the DJ really started? So you've been.
I would say
Mystery E.
Yeah.
And then how? Yeah. When do you think Nicky Blackmarket sort of like really started getting out in the raves? The Sunday show is popping. I remember the Sunday show popping. I remember the record shop popping.
And the thing is, it's like there was a pager up there. Didn't even have there was a pager up on Pulse FM, and it used to go potty. It used to go mad. The amount of, I mean, when I think back how many people used to listen to the Pirates, it was so important because the legal stations weren't supporting it. They weren't supporting it whatsoever. You only had maybe Steve Jackson and maybe one or two others that was supporting the music.
Yeah.
At that time.
Yeah, because Kiss had Steve Jackson.
Yeah.
Colin Dale, Colin Favour.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Pirate Radio was the pulse. Yeah, when your first lot of gigs outside of the Pirates, the record shop, your gigs that broke you.
You're helping grow this.
Yeah,
it's incredible. It's brilliant.
Yeah,
you're seeing it grow with you.
Yeah,
it's unbelievable. I mean, you got the parties. I remember playing Pirate Club, Finbar's Pirate Club in the Rocket. So it used to be more kind of housey in the main room, and then in the small room used to be and Moose used to be on the mic in there in the small room in the Rocket. But it used to be jammed. It used to be absolutely jammed, and you could see that this is going to, So even before it was touching the main room, we had the small room, and it incredible times. And then when Finbar got the Roller Express, a little while after that, that was a venue.
That was
Remember
a big
Roller Express?
moment. Yeah, Roller Express.
That was an incredible venue. That was incredible.
Yeah, and it was huge as well.
Massive, but it used to get busy in there.
Yeah.
People used to turn up there. And that was, that obviously, the whole illegal thing had kind of
gone, and it was back
running
club venues.
It's gone into club scene now. It's gone into club scene. And it's, obviously, it's the logical progression. It's the progression of where it's going. Do
you think Pirate Club was like a main one for you in that 91, 92 period?
Without a doubt. Yeah, without a doubt. Incredible place.
Yeah. When did, Innocence is a place that don't get much love.
Laserdrome.
Yeah.
Sonia.
I always think...
wicked place.
Yeah, because I like your Rages, your Labyrinths, your AWOLs, always get mentioned. Telepathy was a great weekly.
I mean, look, Labyrinth. I mean, what iconic.
Yeah.
Going up the ladder. It's crazy. It was mad. I see an old footage of you and me up there, and I'm doing a wave thing.
Yeah. What about when I tell other MCs? Nicky used to be an MC, you know, hyper in the place. I used to just like,
Go off.
It used to go off, and you used to be up there with your fog on.
There was no, with my fog on.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And then, you know, there was no aircon. There was no aircon, and it was just incredible times.
Incredible vibe, decadent.
You know, when you look back on it, especially when I went into the shop, I never thought of you know, nowadays you go into business, it's a 4-year, it's a 5-year plan. You doing all, you know. Back then it was all, hey, you know what I mean? Just enjoy yourself.
We didn't even have a weekly plan. We just looked forward to the next weekend.
Everyone enjoyed themselves.
Yeah.
And when I look back and I think, how on earth did people rave the whole weekend and then they'd go straight to work?
They really did, yeah.
They would go to work. They'd be out all the whole weekend, Friday, Saturday and Sunday, and then go to work Monday and then have really minimal amount of sleep, if any.
Yeah,
function. They would function.
It was a youthful energy, wasn't it? It was like a real youthful energy. You must have been meeting a lot of promoters and a lot of DJs and a lot of producers continually in the shop.
I feel blessed that we helped loads of people get connected. Do you know what I mean? They connected in the shop and put them together, and it's wonderful.
Do you still have your Rolodex of all the phone numbers and everyone? Because you had like the most
file of facts.
Yeah, file of facts. You had the most extent. If anyone needed to know a number or
the big black book,
listen, people, trust me. No matter who you was, if you needed to track someone down, you come to Nicky. Everyone come to you, didn't they?
They did.
There's not a DJ, an MC, a promoter, a producer, a record label that didn't come to Nicky, because you literally had everyone's number.
Yeah.
And if you still got that, that's
probably most of them numbers don't exist anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah. Yeah, the big black book, the philo.
It was literally legendary. Before we get on to like the 93, 94 era, like in that sort of 92 hardcore phase, like could you sense that the music was going to go like much more darker and futuristic or more ragga jungle influenced?
You know what? Again, it was like we're not portraying what's going on. It's just like things happened.
Yeah. Because I look back
organically,
because like sometimes I'll do 92 sets either on my radio show or at gigs. People specifically want a real underground set, and like you can hear, like, because sometimes people try and put a date on something, like it happened before it happened, and well, that was it then. But I don't think it's as like precise as that. Like you could play a 92 set and you could say play, I don't know, certain records on Production House or certain records on Reinforced, and it was neither hardcore nor jungle nor darker futuristic
really
stuff.
Put a thing on it.
You can't. It was just like everyone's youthful energy and creativity was
I did
all
like
thrown
last
in.
week. I did, and it was incredible. I did Amnesia House.
Oh, I love that.
Oh
event,
gosh! And I thought I played the main room first, and then the drum and bass jungle room second. I finished off there, and I thought, right, what am I going to play here? I thought, I'm not planning anything. I don't plan anything. Do you know what I mean? I still don't plan anything. And it's like, right, what way can I go here? And Floyd Dice before with House Crew, and I thought, and he was smashing it, and
they smashing it.
He's smashing it, and I'm like, right, what am I going to do here? And I went 92, 93. I played kind of across the board. Played and kind of leading into like old early Bookham stuff, and it was going off, and it was great just to see like old uns in there, and then you could see their kids with them as well. That's
the thing I love.
To me, is like incredible. That blows my mind. That's how far we've come.
Yeah. We have 3 generations now. We have grandparents, their kids, and their kids. And sometimes the 3 generation, the youngest, I played somewhere the other week, and the youngest out of the 3 generation was like 28. Like that's how that's like how far we've come within this. When you sort of look back on it all and think, wow, it's now mad. Like it's nan, mum, and daughter coming out. I love Amnesia House. It has such a sense of like an occasion, and I think like things like Amnesia House, Labyrinth. Funky with Moondance and what he does, any of these events that have the original heritage promoter involved, same as on the house scene with like Clockwork Orange, Centre Force with Andy Swaller and his son. When you have those original brands with the original creator of it at the forefront still, and in many cases with their children,
it's deep.
It's really deep, and I think it makes for far more magical occasions as opposed to things that are just sort of like had money thrown in them. Let's make an old school event. Blah blah blah.
This is organic, and it's happening organically.
And I think back to what we said at the start. That's what makes our current moment in time so special.
You know, I just had a brainwave of like what we said at the beginning. It's gone in different directions. I mean, like, I'm just thinking like the Fabio and Groove Rider Orchestra thing.
Yeah, that's incredible.
It's incredible. It's going in a completely different direction. Do you know what I mean? And incredible.
Yeah,
it's wonderful.
Well, that legacy that our scene's got, and the legacy that like so many of us have got, where we've never ducked out ever. There's some of us who have just kept going week in, week out, day in, day out. And then all of a sudden we all find ourselves here. So like you mentioned, Fabio and Groove Rider, you know, our own children are performing out. But I think what's happening for all of us lifers, if you like, lifers who like, we just cannot let go because we love it so much.
Eat, drink,
and
live the whole thing
continually. So much unique opportunity comes our way, and you sometimes I wake up and think, how did that happen? Like, how have we got this?
Look, we get tested all the time. Let's say COVID now. COVID, for example, when that hit, I was supposed to go on tour. I was supposed to go Vietnam, and I was supposed to do Europe as well. I was supposed to do that around that time. So it was like Germany, Holland, I think a couple of dates in Germany, Holland, and then go straight on to Vietnam. And they all started dropping like one at a time, because obviously the countries are different. You know, when they started getting locked down, it was, you know, every country was different. And then I'm thinking, this doesn't look good here. What's this all about? We've never had that before. So when that's it, no, nothing's going on. That's it. Oh, and then Rishi Sunak says, we've got to retrain. Retrain?
Yeah, oh, right.
Retrain for what?
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, you take this away from the people of, this is our enjoyment. You're putting people in prison their brain, you know. So it's really bad for mental health. It's, you know, look, I mean, obviously there was a illness there was a
pandemic,
and you know, but still people have to go and enjoy themselves. Even in wartime, they have to go and enjoy themselves. They have to. That's their escapism, you know. So I remember, I got offered this job, and it was got offered a job on a recycling plant, and I'm thinking, well, look, I'm not one to hide, you know. I'll do a day's graft if I've got to do a day's graft. You know.
Yeah, I remember you telling me at the time.
I do this, and then come to the day, and I thought, there's something wrong here. I thought, my missus has sorted breakfast out 5 o'clock in the morning because I've got to go off, and I'm sitting there, I couldn't eat. I'm toilet all night and sick and all that.
Nervous, yeah.
And then I'm sitting there and I'm like, I'm not being a big head. It's like, look, I'll do any work, whatever you need, whatever needs to be done. But I thought, no, there's something not right here. So I had to ring up. Can't do it. I'm sorry. Can't do the job. Can't do it. That day, I just sat on my own. I'm just thinking. I haven't come this far with this whole music thing. We've had all the fucking illegal parties and gone through all of that, and we've broke down doors, and we've gone through that tunnel.
Yeah,
we've gone through that, and it's come again. I'm
You're not
giving
stopping,
up.
yeah.
I'm not giving up. So I went bonkers.
Yeah.
On the internet, I went bonkers doing live streams, Zoom dance things with all the little windows all dancing in the front room and the thing. And I'm getting paid for these things.
Yeah.
I was getting paid for not a great deal, not like as if going to a gig, but I'm getting money for all these little things. Asking me for advice with certain things, and all kind of things, but it was all on the net. It was all on the internet. And I was thinking, I've got to use this tool, internet, to my thing.
To keep your passions going.
That went through the tunnel right through the other end with it. That's when I decided, no, I'm going to carry on doing my music thing. Okay, it's going to be the internet at the moment.
Yeah.
And then it went on to the sit down parties when it first started opening up again.
Yeah.
And
what my thing was in that time, Nick, and this gets brought up like every 2 or 3 podcasts, like Shabba is on the same wavelength as me and you. Aries, we love Aries, don't we? Yeah. We absolutely love Aries. But my mind was like you, it was in the frame of, hang on a minute, I got fucking thrown out of school when I was 15. The whole point of our music was to always be an outlet for us at whatever age we're at, to share with people. They share their enthusiasm back. We share our passions collectively. We are a scene that was told we wouldn't last past 1989.
Yeah.
And we come all this way. And I remember...
What have we come all this way for?
We've come all this way to keep fucking entertaining people, mate, right? So I was like you. So I made Eastman we had Kool FM, right? Before that was way before Rinse took on Kool. And I said to Phil Eastman, I said, right, I'm doing radio every morning, 7 to 9. I'll be up 5 days a week. We're doing the radio. And I'd phone up Phil. I'd say, you ready to go online? You ready to go live yet? So every single day of my life, I did my show, because I was like...
Eastman, his foundation.
Yeah, foundation, right? Yeah. And there is no way in this world that you are going to see me sulking on that internet going, I've had it taken away from me.
Yeah.
No one's fucking taken away from us. You think that we just, at that point, we've put 30 years into our thing.
Carry on.
You think I'm going to sit on the internet and sulk to the world that gave me life?
And now it's on.
when I've got all of this music, all of this history, and Nick, me and you have been spoiled by rave music, house music, jungle music, drum and bass music, hard house music, trance music. Do you think I'm going to go, I can't do this anymore? Because we always found a way, and I think...
As I said, there's always a light at the end of that tunnel, always. Regardless, you've got to find it. Yeah. You keep banging on that door, it's going to open eventually.
Yeah.
Eventually.
And I think that serves some of us incredibly well, because if you look at Aries and his crew, he puts COVID down to a big part of them coming out and going boom, like Nicky Nine Jobs. We made Nicky Nine Jobs through COVID, and then excel. Me, I continued. In fact, I waffled more on the internet than I ever waffled before, and I think that it served us well, and I'm proud that we can have these conversations. Brilliant. Say to the world, look, same
doing.
the same thing that made us go, no one's going to stop us from playing hardcore or jungle or acid house. We still felt like that in our 40s and our 50s and like, well, what is 5-6 years ago? And yeah, I always like that conversation because I think it's important and the thing is that every person who talks about it, I could see your passion rose because you know that they didn't stop you.
Yeah.
They didn't fucking...
And it was that point there that I didn't take the job, and all day I wasn't sulking. I was just like, right, what must I do? What must I do? And we only got the internet. Let's use it to our best ability.
Yeah. Yeah. And
like, just different things come about from that.
Yeah, I think so. And I think those of us who really embraced it within like our sort of like peers really like benefited from it when we come out of lockdown. And I think we also benefited from it during lockdown because it rewarded us as well as giving back to everyone. It kind of fulfilled our DJ passion.
Both ways. Yeah, reflect as well.
It was a both way thing because like my 35 year coming up, like someone actually said, yeah, but you can't include COVID. I fucking well can because I DJ'd 5 times a week during COVID, and we did Unity in the Sun where we took people away and had raves at Unity in the Sun.
Yeah.
I'm not excluding COVID from my 35 years. I DJ'd as much, and it was just
as much.
Yeah, it was just in a radio sense, right? From 5 years ago, I want to go back to 1993 because we spoke a lot about Pulse, the early days of Blackmarket View. We touched on the sort of like the hardcore scene. I'm glad we mentioned Innocence because like I always feel that I always feel that like Innocence doesn't get the love and it did go for a long time.
And I used to open the main room up. I used to start there and you'd have room. Do you remember?
I only ever went to Laserdrome once.
So you'd have the second room.
Yeah.
They'd open the second room first, and everyone would build up, and then the main room. When I first started playing there. I'd start in the main room. I'd be starting there, and I'd be playing. Then they'd open the main room, and it's like school playground. Everyone would be running in there.
Yeah,
and it just going mad. It's
I don't know where or how, like you have AWOL celebrated, they still have regular AWOL events. Rage is so well documented with Groove, Fabio, Goldie loves Rage and Doc Scott, it's part of, like, it's a great story. Me and Joe Labyrinth are great, like, we're really passionate about our history. So you have all of these things that are probably more in people's faces because of us as characters involved with them are out here celebrating. But I want the people of Laserdrome and Innocence to somehow like come and share their stories, and because it went on for week in, week out for such a long time, and
it was a great event.
Yeah, and I always think if AWOL is kind of like really synonymous with the jungly, like the early jungly sound, proto drum and bass, Labyrinth with the happier and keeping all of the styles for as long as possible under one roof. I always felt Innocence felt to me from the flyers and the adverts and the DJs on it that was more on that darker futuristic cutting edge
underground.
So 93 was a real changing of the music. Was a real I call it like, radical.
Yeah. It was, I suppose, it was kind of that, especially that hardcore thing when it was going dark.
Yeah.
Where I think at the time, I don't think I even realised it really. You just, like I said, go with the flow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you're playing, I'd be playing like all kinds of stuff like within that range. Do you know what I mean?
I remember coming down to the shop and like there was a real changing of the guard, and it was like Scotty, Ricky, Dark Stranger, that sort of there was that era. Do you know what I really like?
94, 95?
93, like that real kind of like You could really hear it, DJ Focus, chill out, and there was that kind of thing. All of a sudden, it was like, oh, there's like a real new thing coming in here, and it was like, like you. When I look back on it now, I realised how significant, prototype, groundbreaking it was. But at the time, it was just more new music coming my way.
More new music.
So my brain was still like, well, I've got piano-y stuff here, like slamming vinyl or Ramos and Supreme when they first started dropping stuff in like 93 times.
The homegrown.
So we
basements.
Basement stuff, So we had that.
It's sister label.
Then we had the basements and stuff and the Tango and Ratties. But then we really did have this sort of like darker, remarky, FBD project, all that stuff, Ant Hill Mob, and now when I look back, because it's funny because at the time, like 93, there was so much going on, like house, progressive, trance was just coming in, darker, ragged, all of a sudden ranking everyone, and like in 92 we were hearing little reggae samples and little bits, but then all of a sudden it was becoming a full-blown thing, lots of like reggae samples from tracks, and so we're accumulating, like now kids are like that on their phones,
just scrolling through.
Us lot then are accumulating
music
so much. I've never thought about it like that, like such a
it wouldn't have been, there was no internet, there was no thing,
but our brains wouldn't have had to thought like that.
Go back again to the pirate radio. It's so important. It was so important
because it was breaking all that stuff. 93 was a groundbreaking time. So could you feel the shift in the shop? Could you like from the hardcore to all of a sudden more like drum and bassy, darker, jungly coming in? I
suppose that it was just, again, a logical progression. Do you know what I mean? And it's again, when the jungle explosion went, it's just like, again, it was like, that's probably when I was out, that's when I really probably
took off,
hit the road and playing all over the place.
Nicky Nine Jobs begin, and like so, Nicky Nine Jobs begins. Eruption. Did you go from Pulse to Eruption?
Pulse to Eruption. I went on Eruption for a little bit. That was fun. With the Demolition Crew when they used to run it.
Great, brilliant. That was brilliant. How long was you on there for?
I can't remember now. Maybe a year or maybe something like that. I just to go back a little bit. I remember being when I was on Pulse, and because back then, I think hitting the 90s, the government put the DTI and put a specialised unit to come and get people like us. Which, it was scary.
Oh, it was. It was doing pirates.
It was scary. Even, I mean, I didn't really go up on the roof and like put the mask up and having to put the transmitter in the thing, and then if you get done in the studio, you could go away. You could have your liberty taken away from you. And that, like, what, for playing music? What's that all about?
I guess that's another thing that feeds back to what we were saying about COVID. Like, we come from an era where it was illegal to play our music, and you still wouldn't stop us playing our music.
You go, and what we could have our liberty taken away from us, but that didn't stop us.
It didn't stop us.
Like we loved this music, so much. I remember one time it was the Holly Street Flats. Do you remember the Holly Street Flats? I remember
Holly Street Flats,
And Pulse were broadcasting from there. And we had a drill that if we get taken off the air, what you do. So quickly take the the ads and the flyers down off the wall, take everything down off the wall, take all the tapes, because the tapes had all the adverts
on them, yeah.
All the adverts, and obviously put all your stuff in the bag, off you go. all for the best. One time, so I'm broadcasting, and then all of a sudden, and I'm
yeah, you do, yeah, you shoot yourself.
That's it. You know, boom, 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 and I've gone out the door. Heart's going. I'm thinking, right, do I take, and then right up to fucking, I don't know, 20th floor or whatever's right up the top, and I'm like, am I going to take the lift or am I going to run down the stairs? What am I going to do? And it was like, I'm going to go down the stairs, because if I'm in the lift, and then it's like, you know what I mean? Then you get ding dong,
and then
it's curtains. So I've gone running down the stairs, diddle-a-ding, 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 diddle-a-ding. I've gone right down the bottom, and now I'm like, I'm sweating, and the face is red, and if they see my face now, that's it. So I've come out of the building, opened the door, straight ahead is the Homerton Hospital, right ahead. To my right is the old Bill and the DTI, because what they've done is, I think they've gone to the blocks. They don't know where, because it was micro-linked, because what microlink. So basically, so here you've got let's say this is the studio. Can you see that on the
they'll see.
So this is the studio, this is the tower block where we're broadcasting from, and then that goes to another tower block where that will go out to the public, and that's where that transmitter will go there, and it will go out, and that's where the signal goes out to there. So what the DTI gone, and they've seen that because it's going out to the people. So they knocked that down, but this is still a safe house because it's micro-linked. Yeah, remember that?
Yeah. So,
but they would go to all the tower blocks to see if they could see anything, if they could find you. Yeah. So they have no idea. Do you know what I mean? So I've just come out. I've got my holdall, because you never go there with a record bag.
No,
never.
Alan would go mad if you did. Yeah.
So I've opened the door, and I've literally looked to my right, and they are just there coming out the van, and I've gone. I've got the holdall on my right hand side. I've slightly looked over to the left and carried on walking straight to the Homerton Hospital over on the high street. And I'm thinking, if they ask me anything, it's over, because they can see I've just been running. Where, that would be it. Or I'm thinking, right, do I run now? I'm thinking, no, there's going to be a chase then. I know I've got this heavy bag of records. I'm thinking, no. And then I'm thinking, right, I'm going to carry on. So I just casually walked. I've gone around the corner, and I have legged it. I've legged it with this heavy bag of records, heavy holdall of records. I've legged it right down to the end. And then I've just jumped on a bus. I've just jumped on any bus. I didn't care. I jumped on a bus, and that was a frightening moment.
I bet, yeah. They demolition crew who had Eruption, they give me an initiation on my first ever set on Eruption, because we was all on there at the same time, weren't we?
I think so.
Yeah. Pretty much late 93 into 94.
Yeah.
And I remember being up there, and like you have all these protocols, didn't you? When you hear this, you shut everything down, blah blah blah. Cuckoo. Remember?
Oh yeah.
You're old mate, Cuckoo, yeah. So they've initiated me, ain't they? And I'm thinking it's a fucking raid, and they done me up like a kipper. I was like, and they was all at the door, fucking, we've done you in your silly bollocks.
But it was absolutely frightening.
Yeah, it was.
It was.
Yeah, it was.
Because it's just like, what do you do then?
Yeah. Well, there's not much you can.
Well, I mean, it's like the first show that me and Stevie Hyper, God rest his soul, we done the first show on Kool FM,
Right.
we nearly blew the studio up.
Right, go on.
We nearly blew the studio. So we'd finished Orange at Hippodrome. It was Orange at Hippodrome where we'd played last set, I think it was. We'd done another couple of gigs, I think, before that. And then we'd finished off because Orange at Hippodrome, it would start at 4 a.m. and it would go right through till midday.
Wow.
Do you remember that?
I don't. I remember Orange at Hippodrome, but I can't remember it going on like
and so
that.
Yeah, went right through. So from 4 a.m, so people would either come from home and go there, or they'd be out for another party and then go straight there and go right through.
Amazing.
Till Sunday midday.
Yeah.
Or sorry, the bank holiday where it would go right through to midday. It was crazy. So we went straight from there straight to Kool. Our first show, we were a bit knackered, and then we got in there, and there was this Calagas little heater there, and Stevie was just about to light up his roll up, and does that smell? I don't know. What's that smell? Wait, hold on. And the gas thing was leaking.
Right.
The Cala gas thing. I don't know. I think we tried to put it on because it was a bit cold, and it weren't on, and it was just leaking the gas. Oh, he's like, pin. Yeah. So we could have our first show, we could have blown up the studio.
Could have blown. Oh, Iceman would have been mad. How did you go from Eruption to Kool? What was that process?
I think because Kool at the time was
Popping.
big things, and we got asked to do the show on the Sunday, and it was that was a big thing. Do you know what I mean? Because you had Brian G, Jinx earlier, DJ Kane, Swift and Navigator. You had a whole. It
Top
was
of top,
Super Sunday.
Yeah,
it was
the real deal.
It was the real deal.
Yeah.
Listen, everybody would just listen to the whole day.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
And it was, a probe as well earlier on in the day, and it was just it was an incredible. It was incredible.
I used to listen on a Sunday and just be mesmerised by Stevie Hyper D, Navigator, Ragga Twins, just mesmerised at this, the new music that was coming through, but the lyricism and the old, reggae style. And me and Sonia, were mesmerised by it every Sunday because we knew most of you anyway. Some of you I'd have been DJing with on Friday, especially you on a Friday or Saturday at the Labyrinth.
Yeah.
And I knew lots of the records because I was buying records from you. Then I had my own style and stuff like that. And it was a magical time.
It's crazy because Monday morning people are queuing outside. Oh, what's that tune that you played? Or what's that tune that Brian played? What's that tune that Swift played? What's that tune? From the night before, they want to know what the tune was.
Yeah.
And that was the part and parcel with the whole promotion of it.
Yeah.
Cutting plates, incredible.
It was mad how much the music moved on from one summer to the next, 1 year to the next in that time, from you acquiring the shop in 1990 of records, then bleeps and bass records were 120, 122 BPM. You thinking, fuck me, I'm going to put that on 45 -8. That's more like it.
Yeah.
But then every year things changed. And then
I did an interview on. I went on Radio 6 Music, and I did an interview with Steve on there, Steve Lamack.
Right.
And I remember saying to him, and he wanted to play certain tunes, and one tune, I Bring the Future.
I Bring You the Future. The Future.
You look at what that tune was made on.
Yeah.
How fast that tune was.
It was so
all the time.
It was so
all the time.
Yeah.
All the time was so fast.
Yeah.
And it's I remember when I first got it, I used to minus it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But then now you look at it now and you think, wow,
I played that out the other week and I forgot how fast it was.
Yeah.
Like, damn, like for the era that was out.
It's incredible.
Yeah. How Bring You the
They've been in
Future.
a Doctor Who box.
It's like, that was a fast tune.
Yeah. But you used to mindset.
Yeah, it was that era that, like, just the way you went, it was Super Sunday, like the way you said that, it was such a turning of like
Everyone,
history of music.
everyone cutting dub plates with Chris and Paul and Leon, God rest his soul, at Music House, and then cutting with Bo at Heathman's and Masterpiece, and
Bo still cuts my vinyl releases. He still does to this day. Like such, and now like he's an absolute legend at cutting
and it's just that whole thing of cutting the plate, and you've got that exclusively, or someone singing your name in the tune, and that's a one-away plate. Yeah, you can't get any. Such, you know what I mean? That's an incredible buzz.
Yeah. How did you meet Stevie Hyper D?
So, I think where we really first hit it off was Thunder and Joy.
Thunder and Joy on a Sunday
evening
over in the West End. Yeah,
YMCA,
George Kelly,
George Kelly and Lee. Yeah, George and Lee. Incredible. Wicked jungle club. Sunday evening, you'd finish your weekend there. It was amazing. It was a vibe in there. The vibe was incredible, and me and Stevie bucked up first in there, and we just got from the off got a house on fire.
Yeah,
it was incredible. Where we had a spiritual thing. I don't know, but it was from the off like that.
You said that you feel that jungle is like when it really took off for you as a DJ, even though like everyone in London knew you from Pulse, Eruption, the record shop. When
me and Stevie bucked up,
that you feel that was it. And like, can you remember when you first started going out of the M25 and then to Europe and then to the world? Can you remember that moment as that it was happening?
I think it was just going on so quick. Everything was going on so quick. I was in the shop. I'd be working all day in the shop, and then I'd be doing 3 gigs, and then I might be going home having a shower, and then going back in the shop again. It's just crazy. Wouldn't sleep over the weekend. It was mad.
And you're not a drug man either, or a drink man.
Well, so let's bring it back.
Go on.
So I missed the whole tablet ecstasy thing. I missed that, and I think thank God I did.
Yeah,
thank the Lord I did, right? Because so I used to smoke all kinds of things at one point, right? And we're talking late 80s. I used to smoke also and stuff that people would give me, and I didn't even know what it was. Then all of a sudden I got really ill, and I had palpitations, and I was ill, and that scared the fuck out of me. That really scared me about taking anything. I like to have a little bevy a little drink every now and again, but I mean, I don't have time for that now. Do you know what I mean? So that, because of that thing there, I didn't want anything. So when the tablet thing come in now, I
didn't want to know.
No, it frightened me.
Yeah, it's interesting.
That never happened to me.
Yeah, in the world that you're in, surrounded by temptation, and you were just...
No, I was just straight no.
Because I remember when Red Bulls first come out, and you said to me, that you had a Red Bull experience in Canada, and I was like, fuck it, you know what I mean? You say, thank Christ you didn't do ecstasy and stuff.
I had a scare. And I'll just be crude now. I was shitting blood.
Right.
I started shitting blood. I'm thinking, that's not right. Went to the doctors. Come on, you're going to the hospital. Go down to the hospital. I had to have a colonoscopy. Camera up the
bum. When was this?
This was a few years ago now.
Right.
And the surgeon took a polyp out and said, if we didn't have caught this now, Said, you're a very lucky man. Didn't caught this now. It's throwing cancerous. So that was a real eye-opener. That was a serious eye-opener. And the surgeon said, Nicholas, you're a very lucky man. Couple of things. Stop drinking energy drinks, because I don't know what it does to you. It's early. We don't know what it's doing to you. Smoking, tablets, we all know what they do. But with the Red Bull, what it's doing to your insides, and stop eating pork. Right. That's what he said to me. So that's it. I stopped eating pork as well.
And ditching the energy drink.
Yeah, I used to drink a lot of them.
Yeah.
I used to drink a lot of them. And yeah, that for me, it was like, and the thing is, my missus is cooking up bacon and sausages, and I'm going,
oh, heaven.
and so, but after a while, look, we're humans. We can adapt. So after a while,
yeah, you're good. You can do that.
Sausages, veggie sausages, it's fine.
Yeah. What were some of your highlight gigs around the UK and world with Stevie Hyper D? Because there's so much iconic footage of you, like the stuff.
I mean, the one real one was probably just before he passed away. When we went to Canada, we went to Toronto and played for Hatteras and his brothers. Hatteras, you know, the house DJ.
Oh, right, yeah.
He used to run a thing called Liquid Adrenaline, and that was iconic. That was a big, and I remember him saying to me about his album, because his album was just about to hit, and then he passed away, and that was like a complete black hole. It was mad. Just at that point there, my nan passed away, but when I was younger. So not when I was, I'm now like in my teens or whatever. I'm grown, and I've not experienced someone dying around me.
Yeah.
So that was an absolute, what's gone on, what's happening here.
Yeah.
It was like a real.
It hurt, yeah.
It was like
ripped your soul out.
It was a deep one, and it just can't say you ever get over it. You just learn to deal with things like that. But especially where Steve was, God rest his soul, was in the music thing as well. It was like I had to take some time off from the shop, because at first I thought, no, that's it. I'm gonna carry on and keep working. I'm gonna keep working, so I'm just gonna like overdrive that I don't think about it. But being in the shop, people were ringing me up. People like coming in the shop. What happened to Stevie? What happened? And that drove me bonkers.
Intrusive.
And I had to say to my partner, I said, Dave, I've got to come out. I've got to come out, and for a couple of weeks, just nothing, do nothing, just come out the whole thing. And it was a deep one.
Yeah, tough. I can see in your eyes a tough time.
Yeah, it was deep, because where 1 minute we're just going everywhere, and then he's just gone.
And because it was such a high moment as well. It was such a gold.
His album's going to drop
an era
everything, and we'd literally come back from Toronto, and it was that week. I was with him in Atomics Maidstone. Then he went on to Camden. I didn't go to Camden. I went home, and then I got a call that morning, and it was just like a don't know.
Yeah,
it was deep.
Yeah,
It was a deep
absolutely
one.
heartbreaking.
Yeah, yeah, so I had to come out of the shop because I thought for a minute I said I'm gonna carry on, and just try and get on with stuff, you know. And that was probably the worst thing I did.
Yeah. How does that
Sent me bonkers
with the documentary that's out? How does it fit? Because like Mills has been involved, didn't she? And
I mean, look, I mean, even like the footage of the footage that me and Stevie, God rest his soul, and Devious, that we went over to Toronto. This was for Marcus Visionary and Delirium, the Delirium brothers and Marcus. We played, and it was a party called Goldfinger, and that was a wicked party. And you know, that footage is
iconic.
Yeah, I mean, the footage of, because we went on a show called Electric Circus, which Much Music Electric Circus, which was a Canadian version of MTV stroke Top of the Pops, you know. And we went on the show, and obviously they've not really heard drum and bass, or jungle. They never heard, you know. We're explaining it to them, and we played a little set in there. It was really odd, because to see how they'd play an advert, and everyone would stop and like have a cigarette or whatever, and then 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, action, and then and then they'd go back into, you know, like the party again. And it was like, what happened there?
Yeah.
It's mad. It was funny, but that's, you know, got a big up Clint, E-Town Junglists, that has put that, and it's gone viral.
Yeah. That clip always comes up, and it's so like endearing to see you all, you know.
Yeah. And how young we were, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And he must be proud, like Mills. I see Mills coming up, and she, like, at the premieres and stuff.
Yeah.
That must be proud for you. Your daughter's carrying on, is involved with that legacy.
Yeah, it's incredible. And, like, you know, Millie's playing all over the place, and she's created her own lane now. It's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That late 90s, coming out of that era, late 90s going into the noughties, I feel like all of us, without realising it, whatever paths musically we took with record labels, our businesses, our DJing, like, a lot of us were like 10 years down the line of living for the weekend, and then all of a sudden record labels start to become much more professional, that our friends are running.
Probably then is when we really looked at it, that late 90s, early 2000s, looked at it as, right, it's not just living for the weekend.
Yeah. I feel like some of us started getting more money to DJ. We was going around the world a lot in our different scenes and stuff like that. And I feel that, like, 10 years into our careers, we didn't look at it as a career, but all of a sudden you go, oh, we are a career.
A business.
Even little things like paying for your 2 boxes of records to go to like Canada or Australia because you've got too much weight. Or all of a sudden you've got like tax bills, VAT bills, all of this stuff that like comes on top, and you're like, and we're saying this, we're saying, oh, how did we get to like 35 years? But I remember then thinking, how did we get 10 years into this? Like, how the hell did that happen? But yeah, I think in your world of like drum and bass, because you know, you've gone from acid house, breakbeat, hardcore, dark, futuristic, jungle. Then all of a sudden it feels like late 90s, early noughties, drum and bass has come of age, and record labels, from our friend,
own thing.
Its own thing. Yeah. Trendy record sleeves and house bags and better production and all of that stuff. And like, it feels like drum and bass like is no longer I'm not going to say no longer organic, but all of a sudden it's hit the ground running as like second only to house. Like, I've always seen that with drum and bass, like house and techno and drum and bass.
I always looked at our music as an underground music.
Yeah.
Regardless of certain tunes might hit, you know, crossover, but it's still an underground scene.
Yeah.
And that's how we've lasted. that's how we've lasted all up to now, and we
all
still
that
go.
time.
Yeah. We just pause it there.
Yeah.
We pause it there.
Oh, you want to pause? You want to wait?
Pause.